Hi everybody, it's Andrew Bebb with Midwest Fishing Club, and today I'm going to talk about kids and fishing. It's something that's very dear to my heart. We started Midwest Fishing Club to bring fishing to others, introduce fishing to others, and that's what we try and do. And some of the best ways to do that is to introduce them young. Let's get them hooked when they're kids. Let's get them to have that love of fishing. Unfortunately, I see way too many adults going about it in a way that I actually, just through trial and error, figured out was the wrong way. I mean, let me ask you if this sounds really familiar. You've planned out the trip, you've packed the car, you've gotten everything, you're getting ready to go fishing, you drive an hour and a half to the fishing hole, spend the first 30 minutes getting all the kids' poles in the water, only to find out that after 10-15 minutes they're bored and they're ready to do something else. You get no time fishing, they're bored, or they're running around, or they're just complaining. It just doesn't work. I have found some nice hints and tips to help you eliminate that problem. All right, the first tip, keep it close. I know when I want to go fishing and I want to really go fishing, I go by myself most of the time. My children are younger and they just don't have the patience yet. But when I'm going to take my kids, I am going to know that I'm not the goal. I am here to teach them and to have them have fun and keep them interested. So keep it close. The neighborhood lakes, lots of them out there. I have one that's about a mile away from my house. What you want to do is you want to get on the internet, check your local city or check your state websites about fishing locations, and that's going to make them a whole lot. They don't have that big long car ride. They're in the car ready to go fishing, all excited, and they're there in 5-10 minutes, and they're much more focused. All right, the second tip is do your homework. It ties in with the first one. I've never taken my kids, or very rarely have I taken my kids to a place that I haven't been before. Sometimes I'll even go, in fact I think it's a great piece of advice, if you go the day before, or even earlier in the day, if you're going to take them out on a Saturday afternoon or something like that, just go out, if it's right down the street, just go out there, toss a couple poles in, and fish like they would. Don't fish like you would, fish like a child would. Find out what they're biting on, find out what depth they're at, different things like that. Which really brings me to my next choice, pack the bobbers. That's the biggest thing I can tell you about fishing with kids. Pack lots of bobbers. Kids love to fish with bobbers. It's so exciting to watch the bobber go up and down and bring that fish in. That was my next tip. They love it. It's real simple. Yep, and there's nothing more exciting than a kid watching this bobber go up and down. There's lots of different kinds of bobbers out there. You have the plastic ones that are the traditional looking ones like that. You have the pre-weighted ones, little corks. This is my favorite personally. It just attaches up there in the spring. It's real easy to use, and I think it has about the best sensitivity. Now remember, the bigger the bobber, the less sensitive the line is going to be, the bite is going to be. You're not going to see, if you have a big bobber, it doesn't bounce down as easy as a small bobber. But just remember, you don't want it to sink all the way through. The basic rig for this is you have your bobber. Bobber's right there. You have your split shot right here. Just a little split shot, too big. And your bobber sinks too far, too small, and it doesn't drop the bait down. And of course, a hook. Now, on to that. Now, I'll tell you, this is not the rod that you want to take your kids out with, unless they're really young. I mean, this is a great rod for very young people, 4 or 5, that age group. It's easy to use. These are, I think they call these spin casters now. You don't need to upgrade that. They can stay with spin casters until they're old enough and confident enough to use a spinning reel. But the rod size actually needs to get a little bit longer as they get taller. Make sure you use real light line. nothing more than 6 or 8 pounds. Excuse me, nothing more than 6 pounds. Actually, 8's probably a little heavy in my opinion. Lightweight, light hook, light bobber, lots of fun. Which brings me to my next tip. Big hooks equal big fish, but small hooks equal lots of fish. And that's what the kids want. They want to be excited about fishing. I mean, let's face it, that's, you know, we don't necessarily, we'll have time to, we're going to have time to, you know, show them the finer techniques when they get older. But right now, we just want them to catch fish, have a good time, and get them hooked on fishing. That's, you know, that's all you can ask of when they're very young. My 10-year-old, he's finally starting to get to where he wants to go out and not just bobber fish. He wants to do more. He wants to go out and really, you know, get in tune with, you know, catching bass and more things. My 8-year-old, he still likes the bobber. He, you know, I'm not sure. He may not be the big fisherman that, you know, we all want, but who knows? They're young. As long as they love to do it, that's all that matters. And as far as the size of your hook, when you're out, you know, in general fishing for bluegill or, you know, small sunfish or things like that, you're going to want to use a very small hook. A bigger hook will get lots of nibbles, but they'll steal the bait 90% of the time and never get hooked because their mouths are just not big enough. I personally, I use a number 6 or a number 10 hook. The higher the number, the smaller the hook. 10s are great for bluegill fishing, especially if you're just getting those little 2-inchers, you know, and stuff like that, maybe those 3-inch fish. And the kids don't care. They don't care that it's a 2-inch fish or a 3-inch fish. They just want to catch fish. So that's what I'd go, size 6 or 10, that's a great size for them. And let me tell you, my next tip, less is more. When you're go out and you buy your night crawlers or you buy your minnows, but in general you can catch anything with a little night crawler. You don't want to use the whole worm. That little itty bitty size 10 hook, you're never gonna get a whole lot on there. You just need enough bait, enough worm on there to attract the fish. You don't need big long loops and strands and tails and everything else that I see people with from time to time. Really, a good night crawler on a size 10 hook or a size 6 hook, you're going to get about 5 pieces of worm off of one. I mean, five baitings off of one night crawler, depending on how big the night crawler is. And my last tip is teach life lessons. I mean, kids get excited at the craziest things. My kids, even if they didn't catch the fish, if I catch the fish and they just happen to be going by and they're not actually fishing, they want to touch the fish, they want to hold the fish, they want to stand with, you know, and hold the fish, or they want to, you know, things like that. I have seen the biggest smiles on my sons' faces when they just touch a fish, or a huge smile when my oldest son, who's 10, took the hook out of the fish's mouth for the first time. He actually caught the fish, brought it in, took the hook out of the fish's mouth, and he was so proud of himself. He was so happy. Teach the life lessons. Teach about catch and release. Teach about, you know, what's the old saying? Take only photographs and leave only footprints. You know, teach them about nature, and you will have a fisherman for life. My name is Andrew Bebb with Midwest Fishing Club. Until next time, keep your hooks wet and your stringers full. Have a great day.